What is going on, everybody? Prodigal Lion here, and by now I'm pretty sure most of you know, if not all of you, will know that Naughty Dog finally unveiled a new trailer for The Last of Us Part 2, and it was very different. It had a lot of questions, a lot of new characters. We didn't even see Joel or Ellie or any familiar faces for that matter, and we have a lot to discuss. I'm gonna talk about a few different things in this video today and just kind of clear out a couple things and maybe break down a little bit of what we saw in the trailer. Now, before I really get started, first thing is first, let's go ahead and talk about whether the woman in the trailer we see is Ellie's mom or some other character. It's pretty obvious that this is Ellie's mom, and here is a pretty big giveaway. All throughout Naughty Dog's social media, they released a couple pictures showing pictures of the characters we saw in the trailer and revealing who their actor and actresses or whatever are. And so the first one they did was that they revealed that Victoria Grace is playing this woman named Yara, Ian Alexander is Lev, Emily Swallow is Emily, and then the final thing they put is it says, and finally Laura Bailey is blank. Now, if you saw this on Twitter, it just looks like a big blank and is blocking out a name. But what you don't see on Twitter that you can see on Facebook is when it says, and finally Laura Bailey is blank, you can see there is 4 separate blanks. On Twitter, it doesn't show the separations, it just shows a solid bar. But on Facebook, you can see that what they actually put was 4 separate blanks. So, if you guys don't know, in the original Last of Us, we found out through Marlene that Ellie's mom's name is Anna. Guess what? Anna. A-N-N-A, 4 letters. So, when Naughty Dog's posts on Facebook and Twitter, Laura Bailey is blank, 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 blank. A-N-N-A, Anna. Pretty much solid conclusion right there that this should be Ellie's mom. Like, I'm pretty sure everybody watching was almost certain, but I think this pretty much confirms it. If it doesn't, then I'm going to be really surprised, but I've been saying from the start, even since the very first trailer was revealed last year, that we were going to be getting a huge part of Ellie's mom in The Last of Us Part 2. I've been saying that she's going to be probably one of the main focuses, if not the main focus, in The Last of Us Part 2, and I think this pretty much confirms it. Okay, so let's talk about what actually happened during the trailer. There's a few different things that happened, but the main point of this whole trailer was this woman who's supposedly Ellie's mom being about to be hung, and the woman pointing a knife to her stomach, and everybody keeps referring to that, saying that this woman is pregnant with Ellie. Now, although I am pretty much I am pretty certain that this is the case. I mean, there's more evidence that goes with this than against it. But one thing I want to point out real quick is that they talk about how they're pointing to her stomach to gut her or whatever, and like terminate the pregnancy before hanging her. But one thing that makes me question that somewhat is that at the very start, when Ellie's mom is first dropped, you see a few people hanging from the trees, and the front one is completely gutted. You can see that the guts are hanging out, but guess what? That's a male. That's a dude that is hanging with his guts out. Obviously, a guy can't get pregnant, so why would they gut a guy? So it's very possible that they could be trying to gut Ellie's mom for another reason other than thinking that she's pregnant, because I don't understand why else they would gut a guy. Now, I'm pretty much still certain that she is pregnant, and that's what the woman was referring to. I'll talk about that in a minute, but I was just wanting to point this out because I didn't see very many. I don't think I've seen anybody at all actually even pointing out the fact that the guy hanging had his guts hanging out. So I just wanted to point that out to you guys and just throw that out there and just let you guys know. But let's talk about a bunch of multiple reasons as to why this could be Ellie's mom and that she's pregnant with Ellie. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about the first little reason I think that this could be Ellie's mom, and it has to do with like the timeline of The Last of Us. As we know, most of the events in The Last of Us took place 20 years after the outbreak occurred, and we also learned in the game that Ellie was 14 years old. So that means Ellie had to have been born 6 years after the outbreak occurs, meaning what we're witnessing, if Ellie's mom truly is pregnant, in the scene that we're seeing, that scene had to have taken place approximately 5 to 6 years after the outbreak occurred. And according to the trailer, that would make sense, because towards the end of the trailer, we hear them call the infected demons, meaning that they didn't really quite know what the infected were, and that's why they weren't called infected yet. Them calling the infected demons pretty much shows that this was pretty recent after the outbreak, but at the same time, it didn't look like it was like too recent either. It looked like they had still adjusted to it, and they were still under like this whole apocalyptic type of life for a little bit now. So it kind of makes sense. About 5 to 6 years seems to be a pretty good timeline, because it shows that they've been living under it for a little bit, but they still haven't really quite understood it yet. which is why they're still calling the infected demons. It seems like it's a pretty good timeline to me. Now, there's one thing that kind of stands out to me that makes this woman, Emily, point the knife towards Ellie's mom's stomach and referring to her being pregnant. There's one thing that she says that makes me feel like that this means that Ellie's mom was pregnant. And what she says while pointing the knife to her stomach is she says, "They are nested with sin, free them that they may know my," and then she gets cut off by like whatever was going on in the background. So obviously we don't have very much context. We don't know exactly what she means by this. It sounds like they are nested with sin, meaning the baby, whatever the baby is born with sin. Babies are made with sin, and that's what this world is. It's full of sin. And if you kill them, that would free them. So it sounds like what this ultimately is it seems like this is a group almost that I'm starting to think of it. I've seen a few different theories, and it seems like this is like a group of people who think they're kind of like higher up, and they feel like they are, I don't know like what the word would be, like they're purifying the human race or something like that by exterminating, I don't know if all babies or certain babies, or if they're targeting, I don't know exactly what it is, but it seems like this is a group with some sort of religious or political backing to what they are doing. Now, if that is the case, if this really is the case, maybe this is the group that ended up killing Ellie's mom. Obviously, it didn't happen in this case, but we find out that right after Ellie was born, this is what happened. For all we know, Ellie could have been born with some kind of injury right away or something like that. But there is a point in the Last of Us story where, like right at the beginning of the winter section, you can get into Ellie's backpack and start searching through some of the things, and one of the things in her backpack is a note from Ellie's mom, and that note is actually bloodstained, meaning whatever happened, Ellie's mom was probably injured, meaning that she was probably murdered, and I would not be surprised if she was murdered by this group of people that are trying to purify the human race. Now, maybe in the first trailer we saw for The Last of Us Part 2, we see that Ellie was pissed, and we saw people scattered throughout the house. We tended to think that this had to do with the fireflies, but it didn't make sense to me because when I was looking at everybody on the floor in that original trailer, they didn't look like fireflies. They didn't look like they were wearing firefly gear, but they also didn't quite look like hunters to me either. After seeing this new Last of Us Part 2 trailer, it makes perfect sense that the people she killed in that house could have been part of this like purifying group of in the Last of Us world. She could have easily found out that these were the people that killed Ellie's mom, and that's why at the very end of that trailer she says, "I am gonna find and I am gonna kill every last one of them." I would not surprise me if she had hate and anger burning inside of her because she wants to get back at the people who took her mom from her. Oh, and this was something I also forgot to mention. In case you didn't know, in Uncharted 4: A Thief's Sin, which is another Naughty Dog game, there was a little Easter egg at the end of the game when you are in Cassie's room, and on the wall there's a poster, and it looks like it says The Last of Us American Dreams. It's kind of behind things, but the font looks just like The Last of Us from what you can see. So it looks like it says The Last of Us American Dreams, and then there's a picture of a woman who's pregnant. So that right there could have easily been Ellie's mom. That was already getting pretty speculated to be Ellie's mom in a new Last of Us way back when Uncharted 4 came out. I say way back like it was a long time ago. It's just May 2016. But that right there, people are already speculating that it could be Ellie's mom. And it's just crazy that the more and more we start to get the information of The Last of Us Part 2, it seems more and more like this is Ellie's mom. Damn, I am so damn good at this. Unless, of course, I find out that my theory is totally wrong, but you get the point. I don't know. Some of it makes sense to me, but at the same time, when you don't know very much information, a lot of things make sense. Like that. There were so many things that made sense in the first Last of Us Part 2 trailer, and pretty much a lot of it was instantly debunked just by the second trailer. And this is only two things we've seen. We've saw two little cutscene trailers of The Last of Us Part 2. That's really it. So I'm sure we'll see something else in the future that debunks something else, that one of our theories, but that's my theory. I have a feeling that this is Ellie's mom we're seeing in the trailer, that she is pregnant, and that she ends up getting killed by this human purifying group trying to kill off, I don't know if all babies or certain babies, but that's what happened. They kill Ellie's mom, Ellie finds out, and that's the group she's after in The Last of Us Part 2. That's my opinion. Let me know what you guys think. If my theory, see, what, do you guys think it's a possibility? Do you think it's true? Do you think it's good? Do you have your own theory? Let me know in the comments if you do. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe for plenty more The Last of Us Part 2 content that I will be coming out with as we get more news, especially going into PSX. I'm almost certain we'll be getting some more news, maybe even a new trailer, a gameplay trailer or something of The Last of Us Part 2 at PSX this year. So I will be sure to be covering all that. Thank you guys so much. I hope to see you guys next time.